Morning, everybody. So, Amy here. We're going to make some cookies today. Earlier today with my kiddos, we had made these ooey gooey fudgy brownie cookies. And I have to tell you, they're fantastic. So I wanted to record it again because we did it on Zoom and I didn't record. And these, they're phenomenal. We made them with Hershey's cocoa, which is just cocoa powder. And I'll get to that in a second. This afternoon, I'm going to make a second batch with special dark. So it's not milk chocolate in this one. This one is your dark chocolate, so it's a little bit heavier. They're going to come out a little bit more dark or black in this version. So whichever you use. And if you look on my screen here, which I'll show you in a second, you can see some of the chocolate differences because I keep hearing, why don't your cookies look like mine? Which is totally fine. This is how you get to know some of your baking skills. And some of the other people were asking which kind of cocoa were you using? Was it the cocoa bars? Was it cocoa powder? Or was it some of the meltables, the wafers? So I'll show you some of these. Are you ready? All right, I'm going to try and walk you through these slides really quickly without eating some of these ooey gooey brownie cookies. So we have on slide 2, we have some of the information that's going to be on here that you get to choose for next week. I always give opportunities for the students and adults to make the choice for next week's cookies, whether it's soft molasses, dipped ginger snaps, or the mini peanut butter cups. So I'm going to leave this open for a couple more hours, and then you can decide. This is the link that you use to get into my Zoom, which is totally fine. Slide 3, I always try to leave out what materials that you need, and today you're definitely going to need 2 pans. I highly recommend doubling this batch, but if you want to make it in 2 separate batches, that's fine too, or just a single batch. We got maybe 20 cookies out of the first batch, and I'll let you decide if you want to experiment with your cocos. On the next slide 4, that tells you your prep time. It should take you about 10 minutes to get everything together. It took us about 10 minutes to bake them. I actually like to have my cookies underbaked, so they're a little bit ooey gooey in the middle. And it came out with just over a dozen, just less than, I think it was 20 I said, so just less than 2 dozen. You have your ingredients list on the left there and your directions on the right, but I'm going to walk you through this. And then the last slide is talking about, are all of your chocolates the same? So some people have used those wafers in the past, and they're wonderful for melting things, which is great for ganaches, your glazes, your puddings, your frostings. It's not great for this recipe. Okay, so we're not melting the chocolates because we're melting the cocoa butter with, or the cocoa powder with butter, which is different than cocoa butter. But we want this to be connected in here. So don't use the wafers today. The second one down is your chocolate chips. We are using your chocolate chips, and the kiddos noticed today that our chocolate chips have a little bit of the white powdering on them. Totally fine. It just means that they're starting to bloom or blossom based on the humidity in the air. It's summertime here in New York. It's super hot and humid, and the stuff in our pantry absolutely changes because of it. On the right side, you'll see that we have the Hershey's cocoa, and that's what I used this morning, which is 100% cocoa. It's a powder, and it's great for cakes, brownies, milkshakes, and a finishing dust. So if you are making like a chocolate or a vanilla ice cream and you want to just sprinkle on some powder, if you have like a cheesecake or something, you just want to sprinkle on some powder on the top. It's dry. It is very dark chocolate, so it's not sweet at all. All of these are meant to be bitter, and the cocoa powder doesn't have sugar in it. Now, there is a lot of difference between this Hershey's and this special dark. The special dark doesn't have, it's meant to be like more of a darker, like it comes out black looking. And I mean, sometimes that looks fantastic, especially if you're mixing it with a white vanilla or a pink something, just for aesthetics. The Dutch process, which is in my highlights there, unless the recipe specifically calls for Dutch processed cocoa powder, do not use it. It has a higher alkaline on it. It is dark and it's luscious, but it does react differently with your milks and your eggs. So make sure that you don't find one that says Dutch process unless your recipe asks for it, because it will absolutely change the acidity and alkaline of your recipe. And the last one there is your bittersweet chocolate, the bars. A lot of these will have different, I mean, some of them are very crumbly and some of them are tempered, so they're very waxy. You can interchange your bittersweet with your semi-sweet. If it calls in your recipe for semi-sweet or bittersweet, it's up to you. A lot of people prefer to have less than 70% cacao, which is just how much cocoa is in it compared to your other fillers. Other people like that bitter taste and it would like to have the darker chocolate. Just as a reminder, and this is what's up on the top where it says milk chocolate versus dark chocolate, your dark chocolate would have anything above a 70% cacao, which is the cocoa beans from Brazil usually, and it's bitter. It has less sugar and no fat with it, okay? So if you are lactose intolerant or if you're looking out for your cholesterol, please, I steer you towards your dark chocolate. If you don't like that bitter taste and you want it to be something that's a little bit more smooth, your milk chocolate does have milk in it and it has more sugar, so it's sweeter. So those are some of the different types of chocolates that I want you to be aware of, okay? So which one should we use for today? I'm leaning towards the cocoa powder for the actual brownie cookie part, and then we're gonna fold in some of the chocolate chips, not the wafers, okay? All right, we're back. So I have all of my materials laid out. I can kind of show you with my camera that I have all of the materials laid out on my tray. I like to bring it all together. And I like to separate it off also. So when I'm reading a recipe, I try to always rewrite it so I have it in blocks, like first step, second step. Okay, so I have in a medium bowl, and I'm going to be going right into the mixer as my first bowl, is my first four materials, your ingredients. So I'm going to do cocoa powder, sugar, melted butter, and oil. I don't like to have a lot of oil in my recipes, so I tend to go halvesies with applesauce. So I'll do half applesauce and half oil. Since this is asking for 3 tablespoons of oil, I'm going to do about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of applesauce, and then the difference will be in oil. So in first, we're going to go with a 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. Now, like I said earlier, this morning I used my regular cocoa powder. This afternoon, I'm going to try it. We're going to see how it tastes, and then I'm going to have the family taste test. Which do you like better, the milk chocolate or the dark chocolate? And then we can carry on from there. So for this one, I'm going to carry out a 1/2 cup of cocoa powder and 1 cup of sugar. So in my sugar, I always like to open it up so it creates a little spout. It's just how I fold it here. And then I can use that as my pourer. Now with sugar, same with cocoa powder, I want to make sure that it's right to that cup line. Don't want to go over. And I want to make sure that this is different than flour. Remember, when we cook with flour or bake with flour, we want to make sure that we have a lot of air. With this, you can kind of sift it side to side, and you'll see that it's at that line. So in here, I have my sugar, tap, tap. The cocoa powder is definitely a little bit finer, so I want to make sure that it doesn't come up into my face. So I'm just going to open this up a little bit so I have more room. And it's, yeah, it creates a little bit more. I always like to have a little bit more liquid in the bottom. So we're going to go with our melted butter. Now this is 1 whole stick. If you look on your stick of butter, it has the measurements on here. And so 1 whole stick is a 1/2 cup. It did say melted butter. And I know that in previous lessons we talked about not having your melted butter from a microwave. You want it to have it softened. So we usually leave it out overnight if we want to, or like an hour. Or you can just put on that really hot glass over top. I taught you that, I think, in week 2. With this one specifically, we want it melted because of the way that it reacts with the cocoa powder. Okay, so we're going to scrape that in there. Get my hand down to the little spatula and squeegee that in. And then the last thing for this one is the oil and the applesauce. So I'm going to take, like I said, 2 tablespoons of applesauce and a little bit of oil. I'm going to pour that in. And it comes up to be about 3 tablespoons, and you can kind of see it's very weird looking. It looks like a brain. It's in there together as 3 tablespoons. So that's your liquid. And we're going to hope that it doesn't create this big plume, okay? While this is going, if you have somebody in your kitchen working with you, this is a fabulous time to start taking your cookie pans and pouring a little bit of oil on them because you want them to be greased, okay? For noise reasons, I'm going to go on mute, stir this up so you don't have to hear my machine. And then we're gonna get ready for the next batch, okay? I'll be right back. All right, so I can already tell that this is looking very different from this morning's. This is a really dark chocolate. Can you kind of see where this is? Oh, I know. Can you see it on the opposite side? Yes. So in this one, here you are. We're gonna kind of scrape the edge of the bowl to make sure that all those ingredients get in there. If you are mixing this by hand, you're going to gain some really great arm muscles, and that is fabulous as well. The mixer to me is my best friend only because it goes really fast. So I spent all of my childhood mixing by hand, and there is nothing shameful about it. There's going to be eggs in this, so if you want to taste test this, this is the time right now to taste test this before the eggs go in. I'm going to tell you it's not going to be great. I mean, it does have the butter and the sugar, so it's nice and creamy. The sugar was not melted with the butter, so it's going to be a little bit on the gritty side, but it has that really dark, rich color to it, okay? So we're going to let this go for a second. From week 3 or 4, you might remember how we did this with eggs. I like to use a small little cup when I'm cracking my eggs. Does anybody remember why? Put your thumbs into the crack, and you just very gently separate it like it's a book. Get some of the egg white out. And eggs are pretty disgusting and full of, that's my garbage. They're full of dirt and germs because they can't really wash eggs too well because they are porous. So they can't soak the eggs or clean them off with soap. They just kind of lightly brush them off in the factories. If you work in an egg factory, prove me wrong. But that is what I've heard my whole life, is that these are not really clean. So, and I just touched a dirty egg. So you know what I should do? Wash my hands. So also, if you notice in the back, whenever I'm done with something, I tend to keep it out of my sight. All of my stuff that I'm working with is in the front of me on the counter. And if you have a side counter, use it. I'm going to wash my hands real fast, and then I'm going to show you about the eggs. So when you're working with eggs, my biggest point is just make sure that you are clean and that you're using soap and water to clean these off, because they're not the most safe. Remember, salmonella. So once the egg goes in, please don't eat the dough, all right? So from here, I have my one egg, the egg yolk and the white, in a small bowl. I can double check that there's no shells in here. If you were to crack your egg in here, some people are amazing crackers. When I'm teaching my kiddos, I always ask them to crack it in a separate container so it's much easier to get the eggshells out. So just give it a quick little look, spin it around. There's no eggshells. Then I also try to keep all of my measurements really close while I'm setting up. It's part of that prep time. So as I get all of my materials out, I also lay the measurers right next to the materials. So with my vanilla, I'm gonna need two teaspoons of vanilla. Tablespoon is much bigger than a teaspoon. And so I want you to remember that if it's the big letters or capital letters, that's a tablespoon because it's bigger. If it's the small letters, TSP, that's teaspoon. So it's meant to be smaller. All right, and in the sink you go, put your cap on, and since I'm done with the vanilla, it goes on the back side. All right, with this, I like to also make sure that I am showing you what I'm kind of doing here. So I'm going to scrape off as much as I can and put this off to the side. Okay, we're good. I'm going to start mixing this on a really low level. If you're using a hand mixer, if you're using, you know, you're mixing it your own hand, or if you're using a stand mixer, always start on the smallest. So I'm going to lock it into place, start it on stir, and then very slowly, I like to put the glass to the metal to make sure that there's not a big plop, and slowly just pour it in there. So in goes the egg and the vanilla, okay? Since this is dirty, it goes right into my sink, all right? This is just, it's getting really waxy in there now. That egg and the vanilla are very wet, so you wanna make sure that you don't turn it on and it'll splatter in your face, especially with white cabinets. So slowly I'm gonna mix this up. I don't wanna turn this on really high because it's got the butter and the egg, and if I heat it up too much, the friction from this, as well as over mixing it, it will turn the batter sour. So we want to make sure that we're just mixing